What you said about creativity and using your creative mind, because I feel like that's very important with money. And I feel like people don't associate money with anything creative. You know, money is this kind of non-creative, practical thing. And I think just shifting your perspective so you can see that you can be creative with money and you can think about it creatively, how you earn it, what you do with it, what you want it for. You know, there's so many things when you find yourself in a problem situation. There are very creative, multiple ways to deal with that problem. So, but I feel like people don't go there as much with money. Your relationship with money matters. I'm Michelle Perkins, and this is the Money and You podcast, where I will be breaking down your relationship with money, offering tough love money tips, and a money dating plan that will focus on lifting the barriers to success to help pave the way for better money practices and increased wealth. It's time to take control to live a limit-free life. It starts today. Hello, and welcome to the Money and You show. Happy New Year. I have a great show for the start of 2024. I'm so excited. This is the perfect show to change your mindset and shift your whole relationship with money. So we're going to start the year with that. And we're going to start with a little music from today's guest.
I am a magnet to money. I now have more than I need. I am a magnet to money. Money loves me. I am a magnet to money. I now have more than I need. I am a magnet to money. Money loves me.
So what if you started 2024 singing that to yourself, affirming that, and actually believing it? We're going to show you how today with such a fabulous guest. Michelle Blood is a successful, multi-talented lady. Michelle was a successful songwriter and rock singer in Australia. And after a near-fatal car accident while in the hospital with many serious injuries, she created positive affirmation songs, which not only healed her body, but also took her to worldwide success. These affirmation songs affect the right and left hemispheres of the brain. Lyrics, the left hemisphere, and melody, then the music, the right hemisphere. So the new positive messages go straight to the subconscious mind. This is why millions of people worldwide have downloaded her affirmation power songs. These songs cover healing, success, money, joy, confidence, and they uplift the person immediately. In addition to creating Magnet to Success products and seminars worldwide, her public mystical success events have been held in over 26 countries. Michelle has co-written and created over 80 books, music CDs, audio programs, TV shows, and videos on positive thought, mind transformation, and meditation. Her latest work is a truly powerful and magical app. Michelle, welcome. I'm so happy to start the year with you on the show. This is so great. So welcome. I think you might be muted still. Is that true?
Thank you, Michelle. The two Michelles.
Two Michelles. And yes, thank you so much for being here. So I'm so excited to really dive in. And, you know, the show is about building and improving your relationship with money. I love that you sing about love and money in the same sentence. That's hard for some people to understand. So I want to dig into all of these feelings around money and how to improve this very important relationship with money. And I have so many questions for you, so I can't wait to get started. Do you want to give us a little more background on, you know, sort of what brought you to this amazing place?
Yeah, I was a rock singer in Australia. We were with Time Warner Records. We had music videos. At one stage, we toured 7 years nonstop, literally nonstop. Worked with huge bands all over the world as support band, and then until we ended up getting other bands to support us. But then one night on our way home from a gig from Brisbane to Sydney in Australia, which is a 14-hour, maybe 16-hour truck drive, I was the passenger in the truck with all the musical equipment. And the truck driver fell asleep at the wheel and went into a telephone pole. And the musical equipment went into me.
Wow.
And so as the passenger, because it went over that way, you know, in Australia, the drives on the other side of the car. Anyway, so I had so many injuries. They didn't think I'd survive for the first month. The first operation was 7 hours, and then I had to be in traction. If anyone's ever been in traction, you know how painful that is, because my hip bone was, pelvis was completely smashed. Oh. Back was broken, just so many things. And all the bone went into the bladder. So they had to do a 17.5-hour operation to get all the bone out of the bladder. I won't say any more about it, particularly with a name like Michelle Blood. And that is my real name. Thanks, Dad. It's Irish. Yeah, someone said, was that your rock name? And I said, actually, no, I used to have a different name for my rock name because the record label didn't like me using Blood because my cousin, Mick Blood, same age as me too, is the lead singer of the Lime Spiders, one of the biggest punk bands in Australia and in the world. So they didn't want me to sound like I was a punk singer because we weren't. We were very sophisticated music, you know, rock and roll, pop, but still sophisticated, really, really good stuff. And so in that hospital bed, people started sending me stuff. And you've got to remember, Michelle, my whole life since I was 5, I was on TV since I was 5 years of age, was all about music, dancing, singing, everything to do with music and singing, writing songs, managing my own band and getting a record label. I mean, I wasn't interested in getting the best gigs. You know, I wasn't interested in anything else in life because I'd been doing it professionally since I was 5. So how does a female Australian rock singer go from doing that to doing affirmation songs and working with Deepak Chopra, Bob Proctor, all those people all over the world from my rock band? And so that is where the story began, is from that hospital room.
That's so amazing. And I'm so happy that you recovered in the way that you did. I have a weird personal aside. I was sitting there thinking, do I bring this up or not? But I have a brother-in-law who's Australian whose parents died on a highway. It was in a long, all night kind of drive and fell asleep. And so those roads must be really something. It was, it's nothing to do with any of this. I just could not help but think about it while you were describing your story.
Well, Australia is as big as America, but it's only, back then there was only 17 million people in the whole of Australia.
Wow.
And everyone lives on the coast because, 75% of Australia is desert, pure desert. So everyone lives on the coast mainly. And so the roads, what you have in America for freeways, which scared the crap out of me when I first came here, we just had like a 2-lane road was the highway.
Yeah.
1 lane, and hours and hours to get in between cities. I mean, at one stage, we used to have to bring our petrol with us because there'd be no petrol stations on, before you ran out of gas, gas for you guys.
Yeah. Fascinating. Well, yeah. I know that's not why people are listening, but I couldn't help it. Yeah. So great, amazing background. I mean, it does, you did have one of those life-changing events that also changed your career, changed your perspective, changed what you were doing, which I always find that even though this is a show about money, it's really a show about living a limit-free life, which is very much tied to the work you do and how you show up in the world in that way. And I find there's always a fascinating career transition story with all of my guests. So I love that you told that, and thank you. Okay, so I know when you started, this wasn't all about money by any stretch. So what were your affirmations? What were they designed to do for people? And sort of what was the focus when you started?
Well, it wasn't for anybody. It was a complete, what the world calls an accident. Somebody put on the audio version of Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, which is a very, very famous motivational book. But I'd never heard of Napoleon Hill or any of that stuff because that wasn't in my trajectory at all. I didn't know about motivational seminars, affirmations. You know, this is the 80s, you know. And but when I was listening to this audio book, and I hated it when they were putting on these audio books because I couldn't move to turn them off. And when you're feeling not just deep depression, but intense pain, physical pain, the last thing you want is to hear, oh, blah, 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 bubbly, bubbly, bubbly. You know? It doesn't, because your oscillation is here. And if someone's coming in with something like that, but this particular book, one chapter, Michelle, changed me. And it was Napoleon Hill's little boy. Infant son was born completely deaf. And Napoleon was explaining how he would go into his little boy's room every night, every single night and morning, and do this auto suggestion, which we now call affirmations. You are hearing perfectly, my son. You grow up to be such a strong and courageous, beautiful boy. You can hear perfectly. Anyway, by the time this little kid was 3, he had 30% of his hearing. It's like 10% a year. He went on to become a huge success in the hearing aid industry. But anyway, you know what happens when you hear something for the first time, but in your guts, in the marrow of your bones, you know what you've just heard is true, even though you've never heard of it before. So I was like, I believe that. I know every time I've wanted to create, like get a record label, publishing contract, write a new song, I use my willpower because I know, I've always known I could create anything. I want that drummer from that band in my band. I'd get it. So I knew unconscious, at an unconscious level, that I could do an affirmation and heal my body. But what was happening was I was saying, I am healed. I know I am. I love myself. I am my friend. Because Napoleon Hill said, you've got to say an affirmation as if it's already happened. So all of those things were untrue. So I thought, oh, great, got the perfect affirmation. None of this is true, but I want it to be. So I kept saying, I am healed. I know I am. I love myself. I am my friend. But what happened was the doubting mind spits it out before it gets a chance to go into the subconscious mind because, you know, the doctors are coming in, you've got another operation. If you do survive that, you know, you'll never be able to do this again or that again. And you're in physical pain. So after a week, I hung in there for a week doing it, but I didn't feel any attitude change at all. And then I had an epiphany. I'm a singer-songwriter. People have paid me to write jingles for them a lot. What? Because you can't get a jingle out of your head. So I said to my brother and a couple of people, go and get me some songs with affirmations in them. And they couldn't find any because there wasn't any such thing back then. And so I said, okay, put on my cassette. So I always had a little cassette player. And for those younger people, just Google it. That don't know what a cassette is. And I'd always have it with me in case I got a songwriting idea because I didn't want that to go back out into the ethers either. So I just put it on record. And for 60 minutes, I am healed. I know I am. I love myself. I am my friend. I sang it for 60 minutes. And then after that, I would just get someone to rewind it and play it, rewind it and play it. I went on to have absolute miraculous healing in my body. My attitude changed because it's a whole brain experience. The lyrics are going into the left side of the brain, the logical side, the melody and the music, the right side. And so you have a whole brain experience. The affirmation, and this has been proven scientifically now about music with positive words, which wasn't around back then, except for maybe James Brown, I Feel Good and I Knew That I Would. Great affirmation song. Anyway, and so when I got out of the hospital, the doctors were amazed. Journalists started writing all these stories about my healing because fans and people have been sending me all this stuff thinking, you know, my career's over. But I I decided to go into a little recording studio with my friend John Beatty and write more affirmation songs, but just for me and the band, not for the public to hear. These are just cool little pop songs, not like 36 track records like I would normally do. And so I started writing songs about success, and the money song, I thought was so amazing. I heard Reverend Ike, who I ended up meeting and doing the very last interview he did before I left the body. I heard this minister from New York, someone had given me this cassette that said, "You're a magnet to money. Money, money loves you. Say right now, money, money loves to be around me and circulate. You are a magnet to money." And so I wrote to him and I said, I've written a song called Magnet to Money based on what you've done. Do I have your permission to use some of your affirmations? Not only did he say yes, but he let me interview him, and I ended up selling a lot of his products for him when I came to America, because I just thought that is so great. It's so irreverent, and rock singers are irreverent people, particularly Australians. So if you can say money, money loves me, you take away it's not about love of money. It's about you realizing that money loves you, not the other way around. Don't love money. Don't hate money. It's just an energy that gives us freedom. And when you can change your consciousness about money, because most people would rather talk about their sex lives than money. They're just ridiculous about money. You absolutely change your whole attitude, and you do become a magnet to more money, manifesting more opportunities. So I started writing more and more and more and more affirmation songs until eventually a promoter came to me and he said, "I want you to tour with Bob Proctor, Wayne Dyer, Deepak Chopra, and you do your little bit of a talk about your affirmation music, because this will bring in younger people, different people, and we'll pay you $5,000 a gig just to sing with backing music from my tapes, and you can sell your CDs at the back of the room." I was in shock, because I'm telling you, an Australian rock band, doesn't matter how big you've become in Australia, you're always broke. It's not until you break it in America or Europe or something like that. In Excess, we were playing with them, and Michael Hutchins, the lead singer, borrowed money from our road crew for a hamburger because he had no money, because that was before they broke it in America. And so that was a fortune to me, $5,000 a gig for every city in Australia. And so I made 500 CDs, and I put about 10 of my songs on it that I thought were good for success, motivation. And I thought I've probably duplicated way too many CDs. They were gone by lunchtime.
Wow.
3,500 people. I was in shock. I'd never been to a seminar before. And I'm sitting backstage with Deepak Chopra, who I'd never met, didn't know who he was. It all happened so quickly, I didn't have time to check out who these people were. And I said, "Are you one of the speakers?" And he said, "You're kidding, right?" And I said, "No." And he said, "Yes." He said, "And I love what you do. But the person who really adored what I did was Bob Proctor. He went off his tree. He loved it so much that he said, I want you to go all around the world with me. My wife and I want you to do the affirmations, get a band up on stage at make it a gig, you know." And so that's what we did for years and years and years. That's how it started. That's how it started. I still did other songs, but they were always positive from then out. Yeah. Every song I did. So I still had a band. I still would but I would hire them as musicians rather than a band. And I was paid so much money. And I lived out from Kuala Lumpur until I came to America and I loved coming to America when I did, because I was starting from scratch. And I loved the challenge where nobody knew me and I'm starting from scratch. And I went to every single city that would take me as a speaker. We had the learning annex and stuff like that back then. Yeah. And I ended up attracting in New York every month. I had at least 300, 400 people that would come to my Magnet to Money events, where Wall Street brokers and all these different people who were in the money, you know, loved it. They loved all the success songs, and we just have so much fun. So I went from doing all the songs to also writing books about it, going into deep meditations, and finding that life was so much bigger than I'd ever imagined. Because when you're a rock singer and wherever you come from, you're in a box. You just do what everyone else ever did. You don't think to get outside of the box. We could have been selling CDs at the back of the room and posters, and because no one else did it, it was only the record companies that did it. You never asked, hey, can we have our own merchandising? See, these days it's wonderful. You can do anything you want. Anyone can do anything they want. Self-published books, music, everything. I love it.
That is such a great story. And I love your enthusiasm as much as anything. And I mean, it's really fascinating that we didn't already have that when you think about it, because we've got so many, people who talk about affirmations and people who are into self-improvement, and everybody's talking about them. Everybody's writing them. There are many books. And the idea that nobody had sung them before is actually pretty fascinating when you really sit down and think about it. So, what an opportunity, and how amazing that you were the one to actually recognize the opportunity. So very, very cool.
And the late and great Bob Proctor, because he said, we all teach affirmations. Mm-hmm. And he said, there's not that many transformational teachers back then in the 80s, but he said, we all teach it. We all talk about it. He said, but I've never even thought to do it with music. That's why he was fascinated, because the first half, when I worked with him and his events in Australia, he said, you've only done 2 songs and I know them back to front already, because it's music. So he ended up actually writing lyrics with me.
I love it.
Writing books with me. We've got one of our famous books Bob and I did together is called Magnet to Money Through the Sea of Unlimited Consciousness, mm-hmm. which is an audio book as well, which people get for free when they go to the Magnet to Money app. The Magnet to Money app has tons of affirmations with music underneath them, morning meditations, 30-day challenges. The Magnet to Money song is your notification. You just have to listen. So easy. Cup of coffee a month. Yeah. And then you get the audio book from me and Bob for free as well. And you don't even have to get the app to get the audio book. So
fantastic. Well, yeah. I want to come back to that at the end so people can be reminded of how to access all of this. But I want to get into, you mentioned the doubting aspect of your mind. So, of course, that's going to come up for people with respect to money, because that's really ingrained in a lot of people. Not everybody, but I think for people who don't have a particularly great relationship with money, it's typically because of all the things that they're telling themselves about what's possible for them in the financial arena. So can you elaborate a little bit on how you go from not believing to believing, with affirmations, or what are some of the keys here?
Yeah, the thing is, it's very, very deep, but I'm a simple person, so I always keep it simple and spiritual, because people are not aware of the power. I mean, science. I mean, the New York Times just did a few months ago a scientific article about, what the Buddha has been saying for 2,500 years. We are what we think. Everything we are, it arises with our thoughts. With our thoughts, we make the world. And they have discovered that even though we look solid, the Buddha was always saying, this is not real. It's the Maya. It's not real. And they now know that humans are actually holograms. We are not real. We're just buzzing energy. And our thoughts are creating everything. So there's just over 8 billion people on the planet. So that means there's nearly 8 billion different world planes, because everyone is creating their own world. Because when you oscillate, this is what happens. When people get frustrated and they're like, oh, my God, I'm desperate. I think I'll get the money app, or I'll listen to Michelle Perkins a little more, and or I'll go to, I'll write a book, I'll do something. I'm desperate, even though I don't believe it. What happens is the doubting mind is you're vibrating at a particular oscillation. It's a frequency, and you can hear it. And as you do the affirmation music, just by listening to it, even if you don't like my music, but you will, it's awesome. You just have to listen to it. And so you're having a whole brain experience. So let's look at your higher self or your consciousness as a diamond. You're this diamond. But over a lifetime, there are little spots of emotions that start coating. So you can't feel your intuition anymore. You don't know sometimes to go left or right. What do I do next with my life? What is my purpose? Because this is blocked. So as your frequency becomes faster, because as I said, it's a speed, it's a frequency, a vibration, that starts cleaning the diamond and you start being able to feel again because your consciousness is blocked. There are always opportunities to make money, to be creative. Like Bob always used to say, you know, jump over the terror barrier into the creative plane of life and you won't even think about how to make money. You just will make money. You'll just attract it through living in a creative place that isn't filled with fear. You have to jump over that terror barrier. And, you know, like one of our songs we wrote called Take a Risk. Everybody take a risk. We sort of did a James Bond sort of a theme. Cool song. Anyway, so then as you're listening to the music and doing maybe visualizations, listening to the app, the world's first manifestation video book that we just released is the most awesome thing I've ever seen. And all these best-selling authors I know just said, oh, my God, that's what we want to do from now on, a video book. So you're listening to the audio book, but you're watching a video with all these positive images going straight into your subconscious mind. And at the end of each chapter, which is about manifestation, money, meditation, synchronicity, how to become more intuitive, all these different chapters on these great chapters on so many topics people really do want to know about because people are waking up. And then a music video with all the positive things to go with the affirmation song at the end of each video. So as you're watching that, you're getting a frequency come to you. Your oscillation just by watching goes up. You watch a sad movie. How do you feel? You watch The Avengers or you want to watch that gorgeous Thor, the Australian actor, and your energy goes up. But you want it to go up in increments fast. So that your doubting mind doesn't have a chance to spit out that new positive thought. So everything that we create, John and Dara, Trevor Rogers, Holly Fuller and myself, we create so that your subconscious mind, so it'll go into the subconscious mind before the doubting mind. It's just like writing a song. I get a great song idea. And if I don't record it, it's gone. It goes it doesn't go into the long-term memory. It goes into the short-term memory. But what was that song? I had such a great song. Mick Jagger said, we would not have the song Satisfaction if I went back to sleep.
So interesting.
Because he said, I have my little cassette recorder there. And that's when I got the idea. Oh, I've got to do that too, because I kept forgetting my songs. So I kept getting written down. And, and he said, so I was going to get back to sleep. And then I was like, oh, bugger it. He said, I can't get no satisfaction. That was it. He went back to sleep. Next day, he went over to work with Keith and they wrote the song.
Wow. I love that. I used to sit at my corporate job and I would have millions of ideas for businesses and I would be doing my job and all these ideas would come and some of them were so good. I would just be like, this is such a great idea. There's no way I'm going to forget it. I'm busy. I'm not going to write it down. And it would be exactly that. I would always forget it. It wouldn't matter like how great it seemed at the time. The next day I wouldn't remember what it was. It was so strange. So I love that you brought that up.
Yeah. And bringing that up just for a minute, just to help people here, give yourself an ideas book. Get an ideas book. Every time I got an idea, to do mystical greeting cards or whatever, I'd write it in my ideas book. And if someone needed a new idea for a product or something that maybe was one of my students, I'd give them one. I'd give them a book title idea or something. And then when you want to create something new and you can't think of something exactly or a new book or whatever it is you want to do, website, you open your ideas book and there it all is. So yeah, you got to write it down.
Yeah, you do have to write it down. And I think the process of writing also kind of, whatever you're writing, if you write the affirmations and you sing them, I mean, it can't hurt to kind of, have some different avenues for all of this. I want to talk to you, money specifically. I loved what you said about creativity and using your creative mind, because I feel like that's very important with money. And I feel like people don't associate money with anything creative. You know, money is this kind of non-creative, practical thing. And I think just shifting your perspective so you can see that you can be creative with money and you can think about it creatively, how you earn it, what you do with it, what you want it for. You know, there's so many things when you find yourself in a problem situation. There are very creative, multiple ways to deal with that problem. So, but I feel like people don't go there as much with money. Do you agree with me? Do you have any kind of insights on that one?
I have students from all over the world, from all walks of life, dentists, doctors, musicians, you name it. And we're always, when we do our live Zooms, we're always going into the mystical. That's why it's called the manifestation through the power of mysticism. Manifestation. You don't think of money at all in that way. You have to have multiple streams of income. You cannot get rich or be even well off without multiple streams of income, unless you're an extremely gifted surgeon or lawyer or something in the corporate world. But when you have multiple streams of income through books, and then, I mean, it is unlimited. My song, Don't Give Me Limitations, is a great song for that, because it's like there are no limitations, particularly in this modern age where you can do ebooks, write songs, do websites, you know, affiliates. I mean, my friend Thomas Miller, who's got the Subconscious Mind Mastery, super, super successful podcast. We're going to be writing a book together soon. I mean, he's just started a website which is just, you know, affiliates with everyone gets their books. You can make your own website and have lots of different people's products and become an affiliate. And you don't even have to send the product or do anything that way. Mm-hmm. You know, not that there's that many physical products that are sold these days. But there's no limitations. You don't have to be the author or the writer to make money. A friend of mine in Albania just started a bed website where he's got in contact with this amazing Italian best top of the range bedding, and his website has got affiliates. So anyone can sell this bedding. He doesn't have to go and pick it up or anything. And he gets 10% of all these expensive beds. He will go to a hotel chain in Albania and give them a really good deal. I mean, there's no limitations. And this is a guy that was just selling beds from a store originally until he became a student and started waking up to more and more ideas to make more and more money. And you've just got to have extra streams of income. You can have your own job. You don't, you know, like a lot of teachers used to say, stop working for people. Just get out there and do it. Take a risk. Bob and I never taught like that. We would always say, if your fearful mind, your doubting mind is still there, don't jump off the edge of the cliff. You may not be a swimmer yet. You've got to learn to swim first. So stay in your job, but then realize all the hours that you waste on television, on, it's the weekend. I mean, when I lived in Asia, people work all weekend. I don't understand how people can say, I don't know how to make extra money. You got 2 days off a week. I never take a day off, because why would I? I love what I do. So when you're living the creative plane of life, you can be selling other people's products. I mean, I've got affiliate programs for all my products with people from all over the world. They sell it, they make money every month. And so multiple streams of income is extremely vital, and anybody can do it. There are no excuses. You just find something you like and you tell other people about it, and they buy it and you get a percentage. Or do something completely different. But when you jump into the creative plane of life and you start to look at opportunities and different things that you could do with your life, well, then more opportunities come. And then you start making lots of money. I mean, Thomas the other day, I love what he did. He saw this book he loved. He really loved. And he's got a beautiful speaking voice, Thomas. And he wrote to the author and he said, I can't see your audio book. Do you have one? The author said, no. And he said, well, here's a sample. So he actually recorded a chapter of the book, sent it to this best-selling author.
Wow.
And the guy said, yeah, okay, I'll give you 50% of every sale. And I mean, last week he made $21,000 extra dollars from one book because someone had said how good it was on Spotify and it went viral.
Wow. Wow.
I mean, there are no limitations. There's just no limitations. And you don't have to be able to sing the song or write the book. You can just find something you love and promote it and make money.
Yeah. You know, this is so great. And I think it is important because the world has changed and it's a different world. Now, on the one hand, there is a lot more opportunity with the internet and everything else. We can do what you're talking about much more easily than ever. And on the other hand, things are more complicated, more expensive. So, I think it's a great message for people that you can and really should do this. And you know, I think what happens is people do equate time with money. So they think, oh my gosh, if I have to have 3 revenue streams, that means I'm basically working 3 jobs. And, you know, they just get tired before they thinking about it, before they even start. So one of the things that I really wanted to talk to you about was that particular mindset around the harder I work, the more money I make. Because I think that's a prevailing thought, you know, especially people in my generation, actually, maybe less so for younger people, but I still think it's out there. And I'm just wondering how, because I know that's a false belief, but it is still pretty deeply ingrained. So do you have any sort of thoughts on that one?
Well, I've never worked a day in my life.
I love that.
Even though it looks like I work 14, 16 hours a day because I love what I mean, I get up at 4 and my assistant gets up at like 8 and I'm like, hurry up, wake up, let's go. Because when you're doing what you love to do, and I mean, I used to work multiple jobs. I mean, I left home when I was 15. I had to work 2 full-time jobs to pay rent when I was 15. And I've never thought of working hard. I mean, I've just always made a decision, you know, because before my singing career took off, I did hairdressing. I worked at night as a waitress. I mean, I just think people are too scared of hard work. I think that's ridiculous. But you do what you have to do to start with until things start opening up. But you never give up on your big dreams. You've always got something that you're working towards achieving. And as I said before, the doubting mind does not have an opportunity to tell you you can't do it. Listen to my song, I Can Do It. Listen to that over and over again. Because the doubting mind, once you're oscillating at a faster vibration, everything happens in synergy. It's synergy, which is red hot energy. And when you're in synergy with your thoughts and your creativity, I left school when I was 15. I didn't think about how I was going to live in a beautiful home in the countryside. I just wrote down, I live in a beautiful home I own. It's calm. It's serene. And where I am, I mean, not even one car has driven by today yet. Not one. Dirt roads. I love it. Beautiful home. Just painted it yellow and white. and I just visualized it. And I knew I'd get it one day, but I never thought of how the money was going to come. Ever. I never think of how I'm going to make the money. I just think, what can I create that people will love, that will assist them, because so that they won't be suffering. I want people to be happy, because when you're happy, your frequency is at a faster vibration, getting people to begin to meditate, get into the stillness, be like a scientist. Scientists used to go inventors into a dark room. This is what they used to do. I don't know what they do now. And whether it was a mathematical equation or a light bulb situation, literally, how do I start a light bulb? It's they go into the silence with a pen and pencil and paper, and then they'd wait till the idea came to them. But they asked themselves the question, how can this be done? Then silence. Because the divine wisdom, which is omniscient, and omniscient wisdom, what does that mean? That means everything. The knower of everything will come through you. And whether you believe in spirituality or a higher self or not doesn't mean it isn't true. Look into science. I have studied Johns Hopkins, Berkeley. I've got all these scientific studies for those of you who do doubt how this really does work. Whereas when I first started teaching this, people would just think it was woo-woo. what is she talking about? Visualization, affirmations. With a song, you can be successful. And, you know, when Bob Proctor and I wrote New Paradigms, people said, authors said to us, you can't call that New Paradigms. People don't know what a paradigm is. And Bob said they will after we've written this. And even when I first wrote Affirmation Power, my first book, people didn't know what an affirmation was. I didn't when I was in the hospital bed. So we assume that you don't know, but assume that you can know and your higher self does know. Clear up this diamond and you will see. So you should see the testimonials on all my websites. People just giving video testimonials. That doesn't happen unless it's true. This is from people from all over the world and best-selling authors as well, because it works. I am walking proof of it. An Australian chick singer left school when she was 15. Look at me now.
Yeah, that is so well said. Thank you so much. I think that's a beautiful way to reframe it. And this is really powerful. I mean, how can people learn more from you, get more of your information?
Well, I've got a beautiful lot of free gifts for your fans, your customers, your listeners, your watchers. If people go to Michelle Blood, it's spelled with one L, MICHELEBLOOD.com/money and you, they will get, what is it they get, Trevor? You didn't write it down. They get one of my best-selling books. They get my latest album, Create Miracles, Affirmation Songs to Harmonize Your Life. And they also get Are You a Mystic?
Ooh.
It's my favorite video chapter from the Manifestation video book. So you can get a chance to get all that for free. But if they want to immediately go into something, you can go to lighttransmissionacademy.com, lighttransmissionacademy.com,
okay,
where I teach people. I won't go into all the mysticism of that because it won't be for everybody, but some people will be like, oh yeah, I want that. Or you just for $4 a month, you get the Magnet to Money app.
Yeah, tell us a little about that app. And thank you so much for the gifts. I mean, I can't wait to learn. If nothing else is a gift for me, I'm going to be looking at it. And I will put that in the show notes for everybody who wants to access that link and other places. But let's talk about this app.
Well, I know that people would just sometimes forget to listen to the music. They'd be like, Michelle, I know I love those songs. And then I forget. And I said, okay, I want to create an app. It took 2.5 years to create this amazing app, along with Holly Fowler and Trevor Rogers and John and Dara. And Johnny was the one who said, make it a Magnet to Money app, because that's your most famous song. And that can be notifications. So, you know, it can be a ringtone. It can be just a notification. And you just hear a little bit of the song every hour. It just goes straight into your subconscious mind. A friend of mine, a student of mine, was in a bank the other day and she's got it as her ringtone. She was in a bank and it was really quiet in the bank. And all of a sudden, I'm a magnet to money. And everyone's looking at her in the bank. And she just went, I don't care. And the teller said, what was that? It was my ringtone. That's a really cool ringtone to play in a bank. Anyway. And then I also recorded tons and tons of affirmations on every topic imaginable with music underneath them, just so you can repeat the affirmation after me if you want to. It's also got the Prosperity Angel Sleep Program, where you just get to listen to your angel speaking to you as you're sleeping, giving you all this positive input. And it's the way I've created it, it'll make you go to sleep and sleep deeply. Wow. And it's also got every single morning there's a different 8-minute meditation on a particular topic like joy or prosperity. So you just listen to the meditation for 6 to 8 minutes each meditation. And the new thing that we've got coming up is a 30-day challenge for you to set yourself a goal, and then you have the notifications to, got to remember, I've got to do this today and that today to create what it is that you want to create. And I want everyone to realize as well that working multiple jobs sometimes is required for you to get to the next step. But when you're creating something, so it's a funnel, a product or a book or a website or something, once you've created it, all you've got to do is give it a little bit of a push, visualize that it's successful, make sure that you make it perfect. No typos, people, please. Not on websites, not in books. It makes people feel weird when things aren't done in excellence. And if you can clean out your home, clean out your closet, declutter your home, and you will declutter your mind, it makes a huge difference, your environment. When things look pristine, you feel better. You feel energetic. But where you have clothes lying around or dishes in the sink, seriously, it makes a huge difference to, declutter everything. Even the boot of your car. What do you call the boot? You call it trunk.
Yes.
Everything.
Michelle, that is so powerful because people, through what you're saying, can understand that you can take your focus off of, money. You don't have to be staring at your budget in order to have these shifts. You can do these other things like clean out your closet, which is so interesting. This seems to be the year of decluttering. And I'm doing that myself and all over the place because I want my focus to be clear. And I don't feel like I can have that when my office is a mess and my, whatever, my whole house is a mess. Frankly.
You really can't.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's about focus and everything that you're talking about, whether it's when you're going to sleep or, when you have a ringtone. I mean, it keeps taking your focus back to where it really needs to be in order to manifest what you want. So
yeah, and we've made the manifestation video book as an app as well. So you can get it as an app, and it's incredible it's just I've never done anything so wonderful for the mind, for other people, for them to quickly change their consciousness into a higher vibration, because you don't have a chance. The doubting mind, when you're watching these videos, does not have a chance to reject it. So you're just feeding all this positivity, and your thoughts do create your reality. So that's also true for the negative thoughts that you've got. So one of the main things I can tell you to change your life immediately is this: stop complaining. If you can stop complaining for 21 days, your life will change. Because when you are complaining, the only reason you're complaining is you are afraid of not getting something you want, or you're afraid of losing something that you've got, whether that's prosperity, a job, a lover, or whatever it is. So if you can stop complaining and say to yourself, what am I fearful of? I wouldn't be complaining unless I was fearful of something. And I'm not talking about, criticism. I'm talking about, I hate that person, or that person was rude to me, or, oh God, I hate this dress. I hate my life. I hate this body. Whatever you're complaining about, stop it.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah.
It makes such a difference to your mind when you stop complaining. And when you do stop complaining, you'll realize for the first time how much you really do complain, even though you thought you were a positive person. Mm-hmm. You'll be like, oh, holy shit.
Yeah, another absolutely beautiful tip. I mean, that is a huge, if you just challenge yourself for the rest of January to do that, to catch yourself and not complain. And a lot of this creates a level of self-awareness that you won't have had because you're listening for your own complaints now and you're recognizing them, because a lot of this becomes habitual and we don't even really know we're doing it. So, and we do that with money, a lot of habitual actions that aren't serving us, but we're not that self-aware to know exactly what they are, which is why we, really dig in and look at what we're doing. So this has been so great. Sadly, I have to let you go. I just have loved this show, and so many things that you said. I really hope people will go back and listen to it again, because you had such, so many amazing tips to start the year with. From decluttering to watching what you say to yourself and to stop complaining, to recognize that your thoughts are really creating your life, to listen to your musical affirmations. I just love all of this. So if you have any parting words, you're so wise, and you've seen so much in your career, the second career of yours. So do you want to leave us with one final word?
I want you to know this. This is a simple affirmation. It's not done with music, but it is really powerful. Thank you for my beautiful, miraculous, magical, prosperous life. I am tickled pink with my life. I love my life. If you can say that as soon as you wake up, have it as a big banner or something. When you wake up and you start with that, thank you for my beautiful, miraculous, magical, prosperous life. I am tickled pink with my beautiful life. I have good fortune. I mean, you can just go on and on and on. It's not egotistical. It's to get you out of the doubting mind and into the possibilities of the unlimited life that you can have. There are no limitations. I'm telling you this. You are not alone, ever. Your higher self is always there, waiting to assist you. Look at Pixie. What's her name? Tinkerbell. People used to call me Tinkerbell. With just a little bit of fairy dust and a positive thought, you can fly.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Michelle, so much. And for people listening,
Michelle,
please,
so much.
Michelle has a fabulous YouTube channel, her website, she's all over the place. So go find all of Michelle Blood's content out there, from books to music to, videos. And keep her with you, because you are a powerful force. And I think that you will do a tremendous amount of good for listeners who want to start this year off on a really high note, a higher frequency, and get new things going in your life. I love that last tip. I think however you wake up in the morning, if you can remember to shift your state with something like what you just said, you are going to have your day's just going to turn. So thank you. And thank you, listeners. We love having you show up here for the Money and You show. Please leave us a review. Please give us a rating. Help share us with your friends so we can have more subscribers, so we can bring more wonderful guests like Michelle Blood to our show. And love this show, and so appreciate UBN Go for broadcasting it. And we'll see you next week.